Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. Today in John chapter 15, we have a statement by Christ that perhaps all of us give mental assent to. And if someone were to ask us if it's true, we would say, yeah, it's definitely true. But perhaps we don't always live like it's true. And the statement I'm speaking of is found in verse 5 of John 15, where it says, where Jesus said, I am the vine, you are the branches. He who abides in me, and I in him, he bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. Here Jesus says, apart from me, you can do nothing. And of course, we'd all agree, yeah, we can't do anything without Jesus. We understand that he is the one that equips us. He's the one that strengthens us. He's the one that helps us in the Christian life, especially when it comes to bearing fruit for the Father. But at the same time, I wonder if perhaps there's a lot of times in which we don't actually live like that's true. In other words, we might come across a verse like this and say, yeah, I can do nothing without Christ. And then immediately get up and start trying to do things in our own strength and in our own ability and our own ingenuity. Here, Jesus gives us the number one thing that we need if we want to bear fruit. And it's interesting that he doesn't give a list of things to do. He doesn't give us a checklist saying, okay, if you do this and you do that and you do the other, then you'll be bearing fruit for the Lord. If you go to seminary or you get your doctorate or you get in contact with the right people or you get these tools that you can utilize and then you'll bear much fruit for the Father. No, he says simply, just abide in me. I am your source of life. I am the one who can bear fruit through you. That doesn't mean those other things aren't important, and he definitely utilizes those things a lot of times to equip us and to help us to bear fruit. But the absolute most important thing that we need if we want to bear fruit for the Father is direct contact with Christ. Just as a branch cannot bear fruit by itself, you cut off a branch and it's just going to wither up and die. It needs the life of the vine flowing through it in order for it to be alive and to bear fruit. And Jesus says our relationship with him is just the same. We need Christ. We need to be connected to Christ in unity with Christ so that the life of Christ can be flowing through us, producing fruit through us. Otherwise, we're just a branch by itself, not accomplishing much. It's not something that we can do out of our self-effort. If you ever find a branch laying on the ground by itself, what can you do to make it bear fruit? You can't tape fruit to it or try to somehow squeeze fruit out of it. The only way a branch can produce fruit is to be connected to the plant that it was removed from. And the same thing is true with us as well. And so this ought to impress on our hearts just how absolutely important it is for us to stay connected to Christ, which might bring us to a particular question in connection to this, and that is, how do we stay connected to Christ? How do we abide in Christ and allow Christ to abide in us? And that's just simply by staying in contact with him throughout the day and trusting in him throughout the day. In everything that we do, leaning on the Lord, trusting in the Lord, not trusting in ourselves, but trusting him. Recognizing, as Philippians chapter 4 and verse 13 says, through Christ I can do all things, or through him who strengthens me. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. Recognizing that I can do nothing without him, but I can do all things with him. And in Philippians 4, the context there is I can meet every type of life circumstances through him who strengthens me. And in John chapter 15, the context is I can only bear fruit with Christ. And when we put those two thoughts together, we realize that we just absolutely need the Lord. And we each and every day wake up continually dependent on him, not trusting in ourselves. So we remain in prayer with him. We remain in communion with him, fellowshipping with him, walking with him, keeping our minds on his word, obeying his commandments, which is also in the context here, which the context suggests that the commandments he's most speaking of is that of loving one another. And so we're loving people, we're walking in communion with the Lord, praying to the Lord, staying connected to him, keeping him in the forefront of our minds, bringing every situation before him. And when we do that, as we abide in him, as we trust in him and stay connected to him, then he can do wondrous things through us. And he'll have his full expression in our lives. And as he is expressed in our lives, other people will be drawn to him, and more fruit will be born for the Lord. So let's stay connected to Christ today. Let's abide in him. Let's allow him to abide in us, and just stay in constant contact with him, and not trust in ourselves, but trust in the strength that he supplies. So with that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.